Boom. So good evening. Now we're back on camera. I hope everybody is well. If you are watching on the replay, a massive shout out to you. If you are listening on the Acts on This TV audio experience on iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify or SoundCloud or wherever you get your podcasts from, thank you so much for being here with me on the recording, regardless of what you're doing. And I want to know what you're doing, actually. If you are watching or you're listening, particularly if you're listening and you're out of the house, even though it's in lockdown right now, do let me know where you are listening and what you do whilst listening to the podcast version of these broadcasts. I always want to know, are you in the gym? Well, you shouldn't be actually right now. Are you walking the dog? Maybe you're in your home gym, or are you on the way to work or whatever you're doing? Do let me know. Good evening, everybody. Lisa's just joined. So we got loads to discuss tonight. We're going to be here. We do this every week for those who are here new, from 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. UK time. We discuss everything acting, the industry. We cover a lot of mindset, and I want to look at mindset a lot tonight. Ultimately, building the mindset of a champion, which you need not just to win in the acting industry, but you know what, like in life as well, but particularly in the acting industry. It's pretty tough. It's tough at the moment. It's been tough this year, tougher than normal. I'm very optimistic. There's still a lot of incredible things happening in the acting industry, particularly in the TV and film world. Theatre's been hit hard, of course, but things will get better, I'm sure, for theatre as well. And we've got 6 weeks left, guys, ultimately, to make 2020 a winning year. I still think there's time. There's been people who have made some massive moves in our community, in the Acts on This.tv community this year, even with COVID, with lockdown. There's a lot of people. Give me some comments if you've signed with an agent whilst you've been in lockdown this year, because I know there's at least 20 people in the Acts on This community. You know, we've brought agents on our weekly webinars and our masterminds that we do for members, and you guys have signed with big agents as well, like really decent agents, even in lockdown. People have booked their first TV credits, second TV credits even. They've had more than one whilst in lockdown. There's still an awful lot that's gone on whilst we've been in lockdown this year, and there's still 6 weeks left. So what I normally do at this time of year, and what I'm going to start doing from next week, is we're going to start looking at real strategic goal setting, like real actionable strategic, really kind of like specific goals, for 2021, but also so that you finish the year strong. I think there's nothing better than finishing the year strong. What happens is most people now fall into a slumber. They would normally at this time of year start going to Christmas parties. I know that's not happening, but they will start slowing down. A lot of people will write off 2020 now, go, oh, well, it's been a shit year. Not a lot's really happened for me. Probably because they've taken no action based on belief that they're probably not good enough. That's really a big thing that stops people taking action, not COVID. They just don't actually believe enough in their own potential to take the action that's congruent with the result they want. But yeah, there'll be a lot of people now who are just like, oh, forget it. I'll do it in 2021. I'm going to make... It's that thing, isn't it? It's going to be my year. 2021, it's going to be my year. Put your hand up, and I've done this. If you've said that, like, some years in your life, and then the following year's been exactly the same as the year when you said that. So you'll go, right, 2017, 2018's my year. And then you look back at like 2018 and you go, 2019's my year, and you're not really that much further ahead than you were 12 months ago. We've all fallen for that, and I don't want anyone in our community to fall for that now. I think we're all developed enough in the Acts on This community not to make that happen. So we're going to look at that tonight a little bit, and then I'm going to really do some specific goal setting with you guys next week. But really, to start with, I want to look at mindset. Now, you might have seen a video that I put out in the Facebook group. I think I put it out today, and I've just posted it on Instagram as well. The audio is not all that great because originally it was a Twitter live video. So I've had to rip it off Twitter and put it on other platforms. It doesn't work awfully well. But ultimately, I was getting loads of emails this week. More emails than I've ever had, actually. And I do my emails on a Sunday night. So last night I was doing them, and I've had more emails really this week than in a long, long time anyway, from actors feeling sort of like that they've almost kind of lost control, lost direction. This year's just taken its toll on them, and maybe they didn't have an incredible belief in themselves at the start of the year, and then COVID hit, and then obviously, it's been a quiet year for a lot of people. And now they feel like, I've lost momentum, I've lost direction, and I feel like I've lost control. And control's a big thing for me because I'm a total control freak. And I know it's something that I've been trying to work on for my whole life, basically. And I know the older that I get, actually, the more I learn about control is that it's all an illusion. You might think you have, and this is like, let me know in the comments if you agree with me or not, right? But you might think that you have control of your life, right? And you might think that you are in control and everything's all good. But I promise you, it's all an illusion, Okay, and I mean that for myself as well, because look what happens when we think we're in control, everything's fine. Boom, life punches us in the face and gives us a pandemic, right? It was all kind of like an illusion. We were never in control. We don't have control now, and we're never gonna have control. I don't mean that in a negative way, because you should always plan as if you have control in terms of plan direction, know where you're heading to. But if you actually realize that ultimately you don't have full control and you relinquish that, when these things do crop up in our lives, like COVID, or there's an unexpected thing in your life, it's actually nowhere near as devastating for you because you're kind of ready for it. You're like, oh, you know what? Like, okay, this is just a bit of a diversion. I'm going to roll with this. And there was a tale that I told. Someone reminded me of it over the weekend. I heard it quite a few years ago. And I thought, God, this is brilliant. What perfect timing to be reminded of this tale. It's an old Sufi kind of like a fable in a way. And apologies if you have seen the video that I put out, but I'm going to tell it again now briefly for the people who are watching it live who might not have seen it, because it'll just really help you if you are a control freak like me and you feel like you've lost control. And I want you to understand that sometimes you don't need to worry about, well, actually all the time, not even sometimes, all the time, you don't really need to worry about having control because it's actually impossible to achieve. So I'm going to tell this story now. And then I want to know what your thoughts on it are. And Caroline says, yeah, you can't control anything in life. You just can't. It doesn't mean, as I say, that you suddenly go, oh, I'm not going to bother with anything then. You should definitely plan, have goals, work towards them. But when you realize that actually it's all an illusion, when things get upset, and things don't go quite to plan, you're cool with it and you can roll with it more. So this tale goes like this, right? Long time ago, once upon a time, in a land far, far away, lived a farmer and his son. Okay, and they were really poor. They didn't have anything really. They didn't have a lot of money at all. They had a field and they had a horse. Okay, and this horse meant the absolute world to this farmer and to his son. Okay, because the horse is the thing that enabled them to kind of work the land. It'd pull the plows and they'd get around on it and they could travel on it and that sort of stuff. And they adored this horse. It was like everything to them. Now one day, the king. Don't know what kind of king he was. He seemed all right, actually. But the king comes passing through the town and stops at the farmer's field and sees this horse and goes, oh my goodness, that is a magnificent horse. I will give you 5 bags of gold for your horse. I'll make you a very rich man. I want that horse. And the farmer's like, I'm sorry, mate. Well, I'm sure he said, Your Highness or whatever. I'm not interested. This horse is priceless to me. It means the world to me. I wouldn't give it up for anything. So the king's like, sweet, I respect that. No problem. See you later. And the king's gone. Now that night, okay, the farmer puts his horse in the stable and forgets to lock the stable. In the middle of the night, the horse bolts. And when the farmer wakes up, he realizes his horse is gone. So that's a big problem, or so it seems. Okay, so all the villagers come around to this farmer's land, his field, and they're like, listen, oh my God, this is such a tragedy. This is terrible. You should have took the money from the king yesterday. You could have been a rich man. Now look what's happened. And the farmer, just really composed, just goes, look, could be good, could be bad, who knows? And they're like, wow, okay, that's a really interesting outlook. And they all get on with their day. Now, a couple of days later, the farmer notices this horse has actually met up with a pack of wild horses. I don't know what you call it. Is it a pack? I don't know what you'd call them. But basically, has met with some wild horses, and the whole group has basically come back almost to where the farmer's field is. So the farmer manages to coax not just his old horse back, but like 11 more horses. So he ends up with 12 horses, not just one. So now all the villagers come back round and they're like, oh my God, you're so lucky. You lost your horse. Now look what's happened. Now you have, 12 horses. You are so rich. This is incredible. So the farmer's like, look, could be good, could be bad. Who knows? And again, they're like, wow, okay, interesting outlook. Now, over the next few days, the farmer and his son are training these horses. They're breaking these horses so they become tame and they can then, either use them for themselves or they can sell them. And whilst his son, this farmer's son, is riding one of these horses, super wild, throws him off, and his son breaks both of his legs. So absolute tragedy. All the villagers are back round again. And they're like, oh my God, this is absolutely terrible. Look what's happened now. We thought you were so lucky because you had these 12 horses. Really, it was terrible. Your son now has broke both of his legs. He's never going to be able to ride horses or maybe walk again. He's not going to be able to get a wife, and he's not going to have the life he was going to have. This is terrible. And the farmer again goes, look, could be good, could be bad, who knows? And every time he says that, he basically follows it up with what has happened. So, he says in the first instance, could be good, could be bad, who knows? All I know is I've lost my horse. Could be good, could be bad, who knows? All I know is I've now got 12 horses. This time he says, could be good, could be bad, who knows? All I know is my son's broke his legs. That's it. Now, 2 days later, his son's recovering. The king comes back, okay? And the king is on his way to a battle in a neighbouring country. And it's a super fierce battle where most people who are going to this battle are just being led to their death. And the king rounds up every able-bodied young man in that village to go and fight for king and country, effectively leading them to their death, except the farmer's son, who is excused because he's of no use. He's broken both of his legs, so he's not going to be able to stand up and fight anybody. So then all the villagers are like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like our sons, we might never see them again. They've got to go and fight. Now your son has been saved. This is like the best thing that ever could have happened to you, that you broke his legs. And then the farmer again just goes, look, could be good, could be bad, who knows? All I know is my son has broke his legs, and doesn't have to, go and fight in a war. And the fable goes, how it goes, it says, look, and then that pattern goes on and on and on and on. And the fable and the moral, kind of the whole story, is ultimately like, right now, this year, 2020, has been so bad, for a lot of people. And you might not be getting right now what it is you want from the world. But sometimes the worst things that you think are happening to you end up being the best. In terms of like, had that farmer's son not broken his legs, he absolutely most certainly would have been led to his death, to fight in that war. Had the farmer not lost his horse initially, he wouldn't have ended up with 12. Sometimes you don't get seemingly what you want out of your life or your career. And right now you might be desperate for, 2020, all I wanted was an acting job. That's all I wanted. And you might be like, look, I'm not getting that. But you will absolutely relieve all sense of anxiety and stress in your life when you just relinquish control and you realize that actually, you might not be getting what you want right now, but you might just be getting exactly what you need. And I used this example on the video I put out yesterday. I was like, look, there was a chance last year I could have got a massive job in Canada, like life-changing acting job. And let's just say for a second that I got it right. I didn't. I went out to screen tests and I came second place and I was gutted. To be honest with you, for at least 24, 48 hours, just gutted. Just sat there and ate Haribo. and then let's just say though, right? I got that job. I go over to Canada. I film this thing. Maybe like I'm wary after a day's filming. I'm crossing the road and I don't realise for a second because I'm not used to the traffic out in different countries. I'm looking the wrong way and then bang, Ross gets taken out by a car. So wow, that thing that we all thought was absolutely amazing was the worst thing that ever happened to me because had I not got that job, I wouldn't have been hit by a car. And I often think that, in a lot of circumstances, my eyes, for example, I'm losing my eyesight. And it's meant that I've never been able to drive. And one way that maybe I'm just weird, but I've always kind of looked at it this way. One way I deal with that is like, look, you know what? What if I was born with 20/20 vision and I had learned to drive and I'd have got a car? I've lost literally 2-3 people I went to school with who have died in car accidents because they could drive. And I'm like, maybe I was just, I would have been one of those statistics had I not have been given this eye condition and actually, yes, I don't drive, but I'm alive and I can do loads of other stuff. And I think sometimes you've got to look at the shit you're being dealt in your life like that because all the anxiety, like I say, and all the stress just evaporates from around it. And you're like, okay, could be good, could be bad, who knows? And I just thought it was such a fitting tale to pop up for me to be reminded of that I wanted to share it with you guys. So let me know what you think of it. But I think sometimes, life can often deal you what you need, and this industry can deal you what you need, not always what you want. Sometimes people want to run before they can walk in this industry, and they're like, oh, really, I want this top job here. And that's like, you're not ready for that job. You're looking to star in a primetime BBC drama. You've not had one line on, one of the serial dramas yet. We've got to focus on actually, sort of like what you need right now, not necessarily what you want. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to start off in serial drama. Well, keep being frustrated then, going for those jobs that are cast 6 times a year and are going to be given to super, super successful actors, as opposed to picking all of those incredible jobs, that you're most likely going to be cast as when you're first starting out, which will be, the 1, 2, 3 liners in the serial dramas, and, start working, get that satisfaction of being on set. It might not be what you think you want, but it's absolutely what you need to build a CV in this industry. And the last example I used was when I was a kid. I grew up in a sweet shop. My mum and dad owned a sweet shop, which was amazing because I just basically just took as many sweets as I could get away with. But I always wanted sweets and ice cream and stuff. And my parents were like, no, and I wanted it. I really want it. They're like, no, you know what? You're going to have vegetables and you're going to eat your dinner first and then you can have a sweet. And they'd make me eat carrots and stuff like that for my eyes. Good for my eyes. Eat some carrots, cure your eyes. And I didn't want that. But when you grow up and you develop and you realise, actually, God, thank God my parents didn't just give me sweets. They gave me what I needed, not just what I wanted. And life in this industry right now is probably giving you what you need, as opposed to just what you want. So that was the first thing that I wanted to share before I start playing out some clips that kind of tie in with this as well, from last week's mastermind session that we did with Doctor Who actress Mandip Gill, who was on that, because that was a freaking brilliant mastermind. If you're not a member of Act On This, by the way, and you want to check this out, get yourself over to actonthis.tv. I'm going to play you some of the clips from this. We do mastermind sessions every week with the biggest actors, agents, casting directors in TV. If you want to learn about the industry faster than you'll ever learn about it anywhere else, make connections that will literally change the game for you, meet people, chat to people on camera like Mandip Gill, plays Yaz in Doctor Who. We have incredible guests on every single week. Get a membership. We've got an incredible webinar coming on this week on Thursday that I'm going to kind of give you a sneak peek of. Towards the end of this stream tonight. But yeah, actonthis.tv, check it out, get your membership, start getting involved with this stuff. We've had a massive influx of members over the last couple of weeks as well, so there'll probably be a lot of new people here tonight, so I want to say a massive shout out to all the new people. It's been amazing to see, and this is definitely something that if you use over the next 6 weeks, you can still totally win 2020 if you do get involved with this stuff. But we spoke quite a lot about mindset again on this mastermind session with Mandip Gill, and how she kind of, she came from a background where kind of nobody, culturally, like nobody acted. There's no one in her family really who was an actor or actress or that sort of stuff. It wasn't really kind of like the done thing. And we reverse engineered to a certain extent how she'd got to where she'd got. And a lot of it was down to suffocating excuses and mindset. And sometimes, following your intuition, following your gut, your heart, not analyze. One thing that this isn't mindset, this is more kind of like just sort of like brain analysis. You can totally overanalyze things in your life and your career to the point where it'll just paralyze you because fear will kick in. So we talk quite a lot about that. But I'm going to play you a little clip about following your heart, over your head in a second. But let me know what people think of that. I'm just looking to see what people think of that tale in the comments here, and what else is going down on Facebook. Elizabeth, say, all right, how you doing? What says Sharon? Applying for a Christmas job only to be told a friend that the lady booking them had enough people for this year. He apologised. I said, no, he did me a favour, and I've got a new contact out of this. Yeah, so that's so even if you don't get the result that you wanted, so you didn't get a job out of it, Sharon, you're applying for work as an actor over Christmas or whatever. Yeah, you don't get the job that you want necessarily, but you get the contact, and then the contact might well be the thing that you need in the long run to get a result that's way bigger. That's the way I look at it as well. I'm like, you know what? You end up with something way bigger than the thing that you initially went for. That's happened so many times in castings for me, where I've gone for a job, I've done an audition, it's been pretty good, but I've not got the part, and then a couple of months later, or not even that, sometimes literally like in the same project, a couple of weeks later, another part's come up that's been better. It's been a bigger role. And they've just given it me based off the back of my audition, because they're like, actually, you know what? He's good enough to do this. He suits this much better than that part we saw him for. Do you want to do this? That's happened like a lot, like quite a lot. Good four or five occasions in the last couple of years where I've not got the job I went for. So I didn't get the thing that I wanted. And yet I got ultimately the thing that I needed, which was just to see the casting director and the people in the show, the people who have a say in the casting. And then I ended up with a job that was bigger than the one that I went for. So total result, that's how it works. This is Mandip Gill, who was just the loveliest actor I've ever met, really. One of, without a doubt, the loveliest people in this industry. Talking about Howard, I don't know if you're here, mate, asked a question about, have you ever followed your heart? And it's led you to make a difficult decision. It's led you into a difficult situation. And you've had a decision to make that's difficult because your heart is telling you one thing that you know is true, your head's telling the other. That's kind of that analysis paralysis. But check it out. I think you'll like this.
A lot of talk of trusting in your heart. It makes the best and quickest decision. It knows instantly rather than overthinking. Have you ever done that and it's taken you to a difficult situation?
I've had to move agents by me literally going, I think I need to do this. And actually, I don't really go to my family for advice, like that kind of stuff. We just don't talk like that. So it is a case of me sitting there going, well, why did you get to this decision? Listen to yourself, listen to your heart. And also the whole thing about that I spoke about earlier, about when I had 2 jobs waiting for an answer, my heart was really in Doctor Who, but I also knew that if Doctor Who didn't work out and I'd already lost the other 2, that I would be okay with that. Not everyone around me was okay with that. People was like, are you sure that's the right thing to do? Because is it looking likely that you'll get Doctor Who? And I was like, as likely as anyone else, but no one's standing there saying I will get it. But something deep down just went, would you be okay with losing all 3? And some people are in your team as business people and would say, no, that's the wrong thing to do. There has been times when I've not wanted to do something and my team, not the current team, have said, you should do that. And I've really gone to people and gone, my agent said I've got to do this, or the director said I've got to do that and I don't want to. And I've never been brave enough to say it, and it puts me in a sticky predicament when I'm doing it and I didn't want to do it. And for me, I only developed that the more I went on, because there is power in things that you say no to. People care about my career and me, but no one cares about my career and me more than I care about it. And so most times than not, you really have to just go, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to stay here? Do I really want to audition for that? Do I really want to X, Y, and Z? Sometimes it's not a case of a business move, it's just a case of something personal.
actonthis.tv if you want to get involved and watch the whole recording of that mastermind session is in the members area, guys. If you're a member and you weren't there live, go and watch it. It's incredible. Or listen to the podcast version of it as well. You can watch the video or get the audio. But how good is Mandip? She's just what I loved about it, just proper, normal, honest, very northern, and just says it how it is. But yeah, she's sometimes things, in this industry, it's not about the business. Yes, that might be a better business move for you. You might make more money, but I promise you, and as I've earned more money in this industry, not to the level that Mandip's in, I'm sure, doing Doctor Who, but it's so cliched, isn't it? But it isn't the thing that makes you feel better. It really is the satisfaction of this job in this industry is actually doing the work. It really is. If you imagine it as, and you know what, even sometimes doing the work, because it's so brief, isn't actually even as enjoyable as the build-up. Christmas Day is a bit like that. Look at how much we build up Christmas Day. It's going to be an interesting one this year, isn't it? But isn't the build-up better? Working towards it, buying the presents, thinking about stuff. This person's going to like that, or I'll get this year. Can I get hold of one of those things in time? And then the day just comes and goes quite quick. Yes, it's good, it's lovely. And the acting work is like that as well. Yes, the day comes and it's lovely, but it's over quick. So actually, you've got to really fall in love with the process more, because that's what you're going to spend most of your time doing. Imagine climbing Mount Everest. How long do you think you spend at the peak? I mean, I've never done it. I don't think I'm going to do it. It's not for me. But I don't know, what is it? I bet it's half an hour or something like that. You're not going to stand up on the peak for 3 days, are you? I'm sure you're probably up there, 30 minutes, you get a couple of pictures, bump, and then you're on your way back down just praying that, you don't die on the way home, I'm guessing. There's no massive avalanche or something like that. The process of climbing it surely has to be the thing that is, yes, the hardest, but ultimately looking back on is probably the most enjoyable bit, getting acclimatized at base camp. I think there's multiple base camps on Mount Everest, isn't there? That you spend months at a time at. That's got to be the fun, not the end game. So, our industry's like that as well. Sometimes it's not about the business move or making the money or even the job. It's about actually what is my heart telling me, and what is the thing that's actually going to make me happy. So I thought that was just a wicked clip. I mean, it's literally 2 minutes of a 2-hour chat that we had with Mandip, covering absolutely everything about a life and a career. But it was awesome. So in terms of your head and your heart right now, folks, let me know in the chat, what's it telling you? And those people who are either on or did the Acts on This TV 5-day Acting Career Accelerator Challenge, which has closed the doors now, guys. Unfortunately, if you didn't get in, it's done. I might open it up again, maybe before Christmas. I don't know. I might do. But you guys have been going through like a 5-day challenge where you get to reflect a lot on your career and where you're at. It comes down to things like your show reel, your agent, auditions, opportunities you're making for yourself, your mindset, and building a career that lasts. What's your heart telling you? And have you got any conflicts like with your head? Let me know, because I want you to start thinking about the next 6 weeks, like I say, the end of 2020, and start actually getting a bit more focused on maybe one thing that you want to achieve by the end of the year. Because I still think you can do it. Whether that is maybe it's signing with an agent, for some people, you can do that in 6 weeks if you've got the right, the right mindset and you've got the right tools available to you. Which most people definitely have, even if they don't think they do. I'm not talking about going out and shooting a high production, glossy show reel. And to get an agent, you don't need to. You can shoot yourself some nice self-tapes on your iPhone or whatever phone you've got, and that, if you're good enough, would be good enough to secure an agent if you send it out to the right people. But I want to know what your goals are, what it is that you're aiming for, and then I've got one more clip to play from Mandip that is going to tie in with that a little bit. Something that you might have to do in order to make that happen, by the end of the year. So let me know in the chat if you've got something that right now that you're like, what, if I had this one thing. I often ask this question in my own life: what's the one thing that if I had it now would make everything else easier or unnecessary, both on a micro level and a macro level in terms of the things on a daily basis. And I said this before, sometimes if you ask yourself literally on a daily basis, what's the one thing now that would make everything easier or everything else easier or unnecessary? Sometimes it's like, I'm just going to go and eat some food because I can't concentrate. I'm not eating 6 hours. Other times it can be on a much more macro level, like, right, I need to quit my job. Having a job that I actually enjoyed would be the one thing that would make everything else easier or unnecessary right now. So it's not always about those big decisions. Sometimes it's about the small ones as well. But what one thing, if you had it right now, and don't say winning the lottery, it doesn't count, would make everything else easier or unnecessary for you? Saba's got an interesting thing. He says, I was second choice for a commercial this year, but they asked me to be the COVID backup. So they paid me to stay over in London and be on set. It was still a good experience, and I stayed to chat to the director at the end. So that's another contact. Yeah, and you got paid. I mean, that's a result, Saba. That's decent. That's really, really good. Definitely. So that wasn't necessarily the thing you wanted, was probably the job, but the thing that you needed might have been the money. And you've got the contact, of the director there. So yeah, you don't know what'll come out of that down the line. Kerry said he would love to sign with an agent soon, so that's maybe a goal for you, Kerry. Nicholas is feeling balanced at the moment. Head and heart are working in unison. Getting my head down to keep pushing forward. That's great spot to be in. Let's have a look. Getting an agent for Esther. Adam says 6 weeks is 6 weeks, still loads of things to do, not giving up yet. Yeah, exactly, man. Honestly, it really is. The great thing about this time of year that I normally love in peacetime when we don't have COVID, I love this time of year because I feel like, what? I can get so far ahead of everyone else because they're all Christmas partying. They're all waking up with hangovers. I can get up and hustle. I can finish the year strong, and then I can truly enjoy Christmas. I can turn off completely because my shit is already set up for January. Whereas a lot of people will be using the first 2 weeks of January to just feel human again, get back in the gym, all this nonsense that people want to do, new year, new me bullshit, because they don't really know how to set goals properly. Most people don't. They just set a New Year's resolution, and then the only time they check in with themselves to see whether they actually achieve that or not is the following new year. It's like, you're going to check in with yourself on your goals once a year. Of course you failed, like, that's ridiculous. If you check in with yourself, just once a week, you've got 52 times the chance of hitting that goal. But most people don't do that. Most people just go, oh, right, next year I want to earn more money. It's like the most general nonsense goal ever. How do you work backwards from that? Well, I could just give you £1 and go, there you go. Mission accomplished. So yeah, you've got to get specific, on what it is you want. But 6 weeks, is 6 weeks is a long time to get yourself, ahead. Definitely. Sam wants to achieve at least auditioning for getting a role, due to due to current circumstances, web-based, commercial, etc. Yeah, so maybe you'd have to shoot something sort of remotely. Yeah, at the moment, there's a lot of stuff happening online, independent stuff like that. But there's still all of the main serial dramas are still shooting. There's still an awful lot of TV production going on. They're not having as many guest roles in as, I think Ruth Carney, who's a great director we had on a couple of weeks ago for members in one of our mastermind sessions, her block of Casualty, initially there were 14 guest roles in it. When COVID hit, that was reduced to 4. But that's still 4 roles up for grabs. That's only one episode, so there are roles out there, that you can still go and do for real in the real world, not just online stuff as well. How are we doing, Laura? Hope you are good. Mark says after the 5-day challenge, it's definitely a new agent that's going to that's going with my head and my heart. Nice. Sometimes that's what Mandip said there. She's had to change agents a couple of times just because she's been like, I just feel this is the right thing to do, and that's sometimes the real hard thing, because your head then fills your psyche with all of the things that could go wrong if you leave. Oh, what if I go wrong and I don't get a new agent? What if I leave and I don't know, kind of like nothing happens at all? What if they hate me? What if they fall out with me? This is going to make life really complicated. How does money work for this job that I've just done that's going to this agent? What should I do? I've got a 3-month clause in my contract when I leave, all this sort of stuff. Clauses in contracts, by the way, are just bullshit. If your agent has got a 3-month leaving clause in your contract, it's not worth the paper it's written on, if I'm honest with you. The biggest agents out there don't have them. If you sign with Independent or Curtis Brown or United or anything like that, 9 times out of 10 you don't even sign a contract just at all. All you do is you'll just sign a permission slip effectively to say they can deal with the money side of things for you. They can receive payments on your behalf. These agencies that are like, right, you've got to give us 6 months notice if you're going to leave. It's like, it's ridiculous. I wouldn't even honor that at all. My agent has a 24-hour turnaround if you want to go. It's pointless, isn't it? Because once you've said you've left, like, they're probably going to be like, well, I'm not interested in getting you any jobs. And you're going to be like, well, I'm leaving. So it's like, I don't understand why they make you do that. I think that's just a whole fear-based kind of clause in contracts, because a smaller agent might be scared you're going to ditch him or something like that. It's just, again, it's business. Like Mandip said there, sometimes, you've got to separate out the personal from the business. It's just business. Doesn't mean you've got to fall out with people, when you're making business decisions. So a lot of people are after agents. Right, okay. Next, and just a final clip that I want to play you from Mandip's chat the other night. It was just a real honest part of the conversation where we were talking about excuses that, Mandip had actually made occasionally in her career of why she wasn't doing things. She was still successful because she was doing enough, but there were certain things she was saying she would look back on and go, I should have done that as well, and I didn't because I allowed this excuse, or I justified. Ultimately, she argued for her own limitations, and that's a really dangerous thing to do in your life, and we all do this if we're not careful. Society will do that for us, okay? Regardless of who you are, you will all have things that, you will carry around your bag of shit, as I call it, the kind of like the problems you have in your life. For me, it's my eyes. For everyone here, it'll be something different. And society will argue for your limitations for you. And sometimes, there will be things put in place in society that make things more difficult for you, depending on things like disability, gender, race, all these other things. If you're going to argue for your own limitations as well, that's a problem, okay? Because, as I say, everyone else is already doing that for you. So sometimes you've got to start suffocating your own excuses, and you've got to stop, letting go of accountability and blaming other things, and actually go, what, the only person that's holding me back is me, because I'm afraid of all this other stuff. And I get it, because sometimes, life is scary, particularly in this industry where you've got to put yourself out there and you're open for critique and criticism and judgment and all that sort of stuff. But Mandip talks a little bit about it here and how some things she did crush and other things she didn't. She actually, she looks back and she could have done more. So whilst you're watching this, just ask yourself, can I be doing more right now? If you could almost reverse engineer it and go, if I was going to try and achieve that now, how would you go about it maybe?
I think you have to realise people have to know you exist first and foremost.
Yep.
And if that means going to like acting classes, or doing these master classes, or sending letters or tweeting people or being in the know or applying for things that are free in the beginning, because you don't know where those casting directors on free projects and all that, on short films, where they go and whose assistant they become. But I think if I look back, it's a case of going, make people aware, because there was times when I was doing all this from my house in Leeds, like a little village in Leeds, and I felt so small and thought, how does anyone know I'm here if I'm just sat applying for these little things? Like I'm going to need to get myself into short films and stuff like that. I also was in a small village going, oh, all the acting classes are like in Leeds City Centre and they're at 7:00. How am I going to get back from there? And it's like, well, you had a car outside and you really could have gone, because you could have gone, and I didn't do any of those stuff.
Right.
Because,
okay.
Oh, you're scared of driving, or you're scared, it's too late for someone to pick it. It was sort of like all that stuff where, like, looking back, it's like, well, learn how to drive and then go into city centre, and then go, if you're acting class are in Manchester, figure that out as well. Go to Manchester as well and figure that bit out. Because I know it's really easy for me to say this because I'm sat here, but it feels like at the beginning, it feels like you're proper tiny, and it's this world that you can't get into. And it properly is this world that wants you there, because it always wants to find new people. Yeah. And it's always changing, and it's not this exclusive world that you probably think it is when you're first starting out.
actonthis.tv if you want to listen to the full interview. Yeah, she says, like, sometimes it feels like the industry is this world that kind of, is like proper hard to get into, and impenetrable, really, kind of. I think we've all felt that at some point, whether that's the industry itself or a particular clique within the industry, maybe a certain type of agent or that sort of stuff. And she's like, actually, in reality, this is an industry that really wants you there, really wants to discover you, really wants to find you, and really wants you a part of this. So just ask yourself, what excuses might I be making for why I can or can't do things? What, particularly, we spoke about this a little bit, what limiting beliefs of other people, this is what I notice in a lot of actors who email me, what limiting beliefs that have other people put into my head? What is it that, they said to me at school or in my teens, or that boy or that girl was nasty, they called me ugly, called me fat, this, that, and the other, whatever it is, that now, 20 years later, you are still honouring right now as a belief that was never meant to be your own, but you took on and believed. And some people say to me, no, it wasn't anybody else, Ross, it was me. I'm against myself. I'm too harsh on myself, I bully myself. And I'm still of the opinion that no, somebody else at some point put that voice in your head. It was never yours in the first place, because we're not born like that. We're not born to ultimately self-destruct. Somebody at some point, and it could be, sometimes I see it's people's parents as well. Like, and they do it sometimes out of love because they want to protect somebody, but they'll say, no, don't go do that. That's a silly career, or, oh, that's not real, or no, get a proper job. And if you're not careful, you'll take that on. You'll honour that as your own. And this is why so many actors have a hard time when someone says, what do you do then? They shit their pants by saying, I'm an actor. They want to say anything else but that. They'll say, oh, I'm a manager of a bar, but I'm trying to be an actor. No, you're not. You either are or you aren't, okay? And you really got to start, taking that kind of seriously. You are, and those voices in your head, even if you think they are your own, that are against you, and you're not being kind enough to yourself or whatever, I still am of the belief that somebody at some point put that in there. So you've got to kind of disprove a lot of those limiting beliefs. And the way that I often do that when I'm coaching people is I tell them to imagine a tabletop. And then that is the tabletop is basically the limiting belief, okay? And you can either have limiting beliefs that really screw you up, or you can have empowering beliefs that, that are the beliefs that make you want to get up in the morning and kiss the world. And the limiting belief is a tabletop. Now, to make that, a real belief, we have to support it with 4 legs, okay? And if you can, and I ask people to do this, I'm like, if you can justify that belief to me, with 4 justifications, I'll let you have it. It's not a limiting belief. It's not false. Okay, I'll let you have it. It's true. Nobody in 15 years has been able to do it, because they'll be like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, right, okay, let's have that as the belief then. Okay, first of all, we're gonna knock all the legs off it that you think it has. So now it's no longer a belief; it's an idea. Can we prove this idea to be true, or can we disprove it? So one belief, you would have to have, well, one fact to back that up, that you are not good enough, would be that, every director you've ever worked with has told you you're not good enough. Nobody has ever been in that situation. A lot of time I'll say, you've never got a part that you've been for, even at school. And they'll go, no, I was in every play at school. There you go then. Bang. So you're not having that then. And they can't justify this limiting belief that's in their head. They were just told it at some point, and then they've honoured it as their own. So you want to go through what it is that's maybe holding you back and go, shit, where's that coming from? Who was it who said that? Or what teacher said that? Or what person at school, or whatever it is? And why 25 years later am I still acknowledging this as my own? One of my mates was told he was a year behind with his reading ability when he was 11. Right? How old are we now? 27 years later. If you ask this guy to read at a christening or a wedding or whatever it is, he just won't do it. Because he still believes that his reading ability is not good enough. He has grown and he has evolved and he's perfectly fine. 38-year-old man can read brilliantly. And yet he's still acknowledging somewhere in his subconscious or his conscious that he's not good enough. So just have a look at where you are doing that, where you are arguing for your own, your own sort of limitations, and how you can crush that. Like Mandip says, if you're like, look, I can't get to this acting class, well, find a way, right? Learning to drive isn't something I could do because I'm not allowing my eyes, but I would find a way to get there. I would do that. And nowadays it's easy to get anywhere if you've, with Uber and stuff like that. Back in the day when I was going to David Johnson in Manchester, anyone who went to David Johnson's acting classes many, many years ago, we're talking like 20 years ago, when he was in something called the Ragged School in the roughest part of Manchester. I mean, like really rough. Lots of nighttime activity, ladies and gentlemen of the night outside, like literally outside the school, a lot of drugs around, all that sort of stuff. It wasn't a nice place to be, and we'd often be there because David was a bit of a legend, and your class would start at 7, but he'd obviously, he'd get really in depth, and you might not finish till gone midnight. Even as like an 18, 19-year-old lad, that's pretty scary going, oh my God, how do I get out of here? Just did it though. Not saying risk your life, right? Find a way to safely do things. But I could have easily used that as an excuse. Oh, I'm not going there. It's not very safe. Actually, it was a brilliant experience, and something that really added to my acting career massively. So, if you want it, you'll find a way. If you don't, you will often find an excuse. That's what I've learned in my life. And I'm not, I'm still fallible of all this stuff now. I still find myself going, wait a minute, no, I recognise I'm making an excuse. So have a look at where you're doing that in your life. Brendan says the worst for me is when I tell people I'm an actor and they just look at me with a pitiful smile. But you know what, Brendan? I'd just relish in that, mate. They're just jealous, man, because they haven't gone after what they want in their life. I think there's so many people. There's one thing that is kind of, I've been made aware of this year with so many people's lives unfortunately being cut short. I mean, that's the thing, right? There's two sides to this COVID thing. On one side, and it's horrific. I don't know what it must be like. I don't want to know what it must be like. Heart goes out to anybody who's lost somebody. And I still believe that after this entire year is done, regardless of how you use the next 6 weeks, whether you get an acting job or not, the only thing that really matters is that you're alive and that you or a loved one is not on a ventilator. That is actually truly winning 2020. All this other stuff is lovely. It's what we want to aim for, what we want to go for. But like I said at the start, we certainly can't control it. And if there is an obstacle in the way, don't worry. Like if you don't achieve whatever it is that the goals we've spoken about tonight, aim for them. Let's go for it. Let's use the year as best as we can. But ultimately, your only goal, by the end of the year, is to just be here. So on one side, we've lost an awful lot of people. It's been horrific. But on the other side as well, a lot of people are still here because of COVID who wouldn't have been. Think how many people would have lost their lives in road traffic accidents this year, but are actually still here because they didn't go out. That's probably quite a lot of people. I don't know the stats on a daily basis of RTAs and stuff, but I imagine there's a lot of people. And I said in that video I put out yesterday, I heard Gary Vee say something that sent chills down my spine. He said Kobe Bryant, who lost his life this year in that helicopter crash, had COVID struck, or the lockdown at least would have struck 2 weeks earlier, Kobe would still be here and he'd have 60 years of his life to live because he never would have got in the helicopter because we'd have been on lockdown. So again, it shows you, doesn't it? Good, bad, who knows? It's full circle for what we started talking about at the start of this year. Good and bad. There are people who are looking at COVID as the worst thing ever right now. But actually, little do they know that if it wasn't here, they wouldn't be here because something else would have happened to them. So there's good and bad on both sides. But what I have learned from seeing so many people's lives cut short, and like really short, there's been people in their 20s and 30s who have lost their lives because of COVID, is that actually, don't allow those fears to stop you from going after what you want. Because I promise you, I don't know what it must feel like when you're in that situation where it could be game over and you're like, you know what, I'm going out here, I'm leaving this planet with so much left in the tank. I don't want to leave with lots left in the tank. I would rather leave it all on the field. And I don't know if you ever can truly do that, but have a look at what's holding you back right now, what your work ethic's like, how much work you're putting in. If you want an agent by the end of the year, what you're actually doing to achieve that. If you want an acting job by the end of the year, what you're doing to achieve that. And have a look at, the limiting beliefs that you might be trying to, justify that are unjustifiable in your life. But yeah, you got to go for it, Brendan. Those people who look at you with a pitiful smile probably haven't gone for it, mate. So they're probably just a little bit bitter, a little bit envious of you. Definitely. Right, I've got to play. We've only got 10 minutes left. It goes so fast, this. This Thursday evening, okay, for members, this is for all members of actsonthis.tv. Like I say, if you are not a member, come and get involved in this. You will get do you know what I realised today? I realised the cost of drama school. I was actually putting an invoice in for... there's some students at a few drama schools who I get to sign up to actsonthis.tv as well. And I was looking at the cost of drama school, like how expensive it is. And on average, it's something ridiculous, like 47 grand of debt you come out with. And then I had a look at an actsonthis.tv membership. And I've been at drama school, went to one of the best drama schools in the country, and it didn't prepare me at all for getting a job in the acting industry. It taught me how to act, but I knew that when I went in. Didn't really, do an awful lot more than that. Didn't teach me anything about the business of the business or how to turn my craft into cash, into jobs, into auditions, into work. And today it cost you 47 grand. And that's on this membership. I will give you an infinitely better education on how you can get acting work, turn your craft into cash, for 0.5%, 0.5% of what you would pay to go to drama school. 0.5%. It's ridiculous. So come and get involved. But yeah, this Thursday night, we are actually showing a world premiere. Okay, so Danny Miller, who you'll know as Aaron from not Coronation Street, that's sacrilegious, isn't it? Aaron from Emmerdale, he'll kill me for that. Aaron from Emmerdale, and Daniel Jillings, who's actually an actor, a member of actsonthis.tv, but he's a great actor. He's played lots of characters in lots of shows over the years. He was in Hollyoaks for a while. He's just done a film called Enemy Lines with Ed Westwick. He plays one of the leads in that. It's out on Netflix. Danny and Daniel have shot their first short film together. Basically, it's Danny Miller. It's his directorial debut. It's the first thing that Dan Jillings has written himself. He stars in it. It's got an all-star cast. It's got a great cast. It's got people like Siobhan Finneran in it. It's got Faye McKeever in it. Lots of people you recognise off the telly. And the actual premiere for it is this coming Friday evening. However, we're having a super early premiere private screening on Thursday evening. So it'll be the first time it's ever played out in public. Members of actsonthis.tv will get to watch it. We're going to play the film out, and then Dan and Danny are going to join us. They're going to be there with us, and they're going to be answering your questions on anything to do with acting, either of their careers, but also a lot of the focus is going to be on creating your own content. It was not an easy task for them to create this film, no matter how well connected you might think they are. They overcame a lot of trouble. They lost their camera op, their main camera operative, the week before the shoot, but they also pulled a lot of good stuff off. They ended up being able to loan 50 grand's worth of kit. We're going to find out how they did that and how you might be able to do that as well. They put together an incredible cast, like I say, with some, it really was like, it could have been a BBC One drama, when you're seeing all of these names who were in it. But we're going to get the first viewing of that, basically. And then any questions you have on creating your own work, we're going to answer for you. So I'm going to play a little teaser out for you, and then we will wrap it up. But yeah, this is Thursday night. If you're not a member, come and join actonthis.tv or actonthis.tv/live. Get involved. You're missing out big time. Actors, I am back with an incredibly special invite for you guys to another incredible actonthis.tv live mastermind session. This time, it's taking place on Thursday, the 19th of November at 7:30 p.m. with these two absolute legends here. Emmerdale's Danny Miller is back in the house, and we've got star of Netflix's Enemy Lines. It's actor Mr. Daniel Jillings. Boys, what is going on Thursday?
Well, guys, we are going to give you an exclusive premiere to our film Pace, and it's technically my directorial debut, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask me as many questions as you want in the whole process of production.
I will also tell you how we lost our camera up the 1 week before production, how we got loaned 50 grand's worth of kit, and how we secured a stellar cast.
And that's actually not to forget the fact that we won an LA Film Festival award, but we couldn't make it into Bolton Film Festival. Cheers, all the best.
Nice. Absolutely nailing LA. Can't dominate Bolton. Listen, if you want to get involved with this, guys, get yourself over right now to actonthis.tv/live. You are going to get the chance to jump on camera, put your acting career questions, your producing questions, filmmaking questions, whatever it is. If you're ready to create your own work, these are the boys who are going to be able to answer all of your questions. Get yourself over actonthis.tv/live. And to finish, fellas, a little bit of pressure. I ask everyone this. Why don't they want to miss this one?
Well, I can personally speak on behalf of Daniel and I and say that we certainly won't bullshit any of your questions. We'll give you genuine answers and tell you that it is tough to make your own film, but it's very rewarding in the same respect. All right.
What he said.
Nice. A BS-free zone. Be there. actonthis.tv/live. actonthis.tv/live. Go get your membership. Join us. Yeah, it's going to be a total bullshit-free zone. But it's just going to be, honestly, it'll be an awesome chat. You'll get to see this film for the first time and ask any questions that you want. Anyone here who's actually looking to make their first short film? Maybe. Probably not in 2020. I'm not going to hold you to doing that by the end of the year, but maybe 2021. Have you written anything this year in lockdown that you want to make next year? You'd want to maybe put something together. We're not talking huge feature films here, just little projects. But Danny and Dan are going to be able to talk you through a lot of the pros and cons of that, a lot of the things that they found, difficult, how they got over those hurdles, etc. But it'll just be really, a really good laugh. Let's have a look. Anyone got anything there? Any more in the chat? I can see. I know he lost everybody there. Brendan, you are smashing the Brendan's saying he just has to leave a legacy. Brendan, you will leave a legacy, mate. Absolutely guarantee you of that. Amy, you've written stuff, haven't you? Amy's saying yes, I'm sure you have, and Harriet's saying yes as well. You'll benefit a lot from that. Then we'll have a really open and honest chat with the lads. And Sam says she's got a sitcom project that she wants to do. Done my first shorts, but I have an idea for a feature film, says Sharon. Love to make a short film, says Polly. I'm not good at script writing. Limiting belief, Polly, limiting belief. You can get good. You weren't good at walking as a child, but then you learn to walk. It's that whole thing, innit? It's overused, but they say, imagine if a baby just gave up walking after the first time it fell over. None of us would be walking, but it doesn't. It just goes again and again and again, and it falls over and it gets up and it falls over and it gets up and it falls over and it gets up, and then boom. That's how we all learn to walk. So yeah, you can get good at writing, Shelley Polly. Even if you don't think you are now. Definitely that you can always improve. And this is my first live session, says Alex. Alex, come back every week. We do this. Get involved. Are you in the actonthis.tv community? I can't remember. There's so many names. I don't know who's doing what. But if you're not a member, come and join us for this premiere on Thursday night. And then the following Tuesday, I have just confirmed today, we're going to do a live mastermind session, again, a member-only mastermind session with Fiona Weir, the casting director, her associate. Alyssa Rogers is going to be joining us on Tuesday. She's the associate for some incredible projects. Any Ted Lasso fans in the house, an Apple Plus show, fantastic comedy. Ted Lasso. She's also cast Brassic with Fiona. Stephen Merchant's upcoming drama, I think it's called The Offenders, a new Stephen Merchant, a new Stephen Merchant comedy. A lot of comedy. Alyssa's done a lot of comedy. He's going to be joining us the following Tuesday. We've got some great guests on the way until Christmas. I think this year we're going to wrap up around about the 17th of December. Maybe the week after that we'll do a little cocktails and conversation evening in Christmas jumpers. But our last mastermind session with a guest will be the 17th. And again, we're going to make it a little bit of a Christmas special. It'll be focused on an actor from a show that's going out on Christmas Day. Come and tell us all about that. Someone who you will have heard quite a lot about, actually. But it'll be a really good kind of final session there. But we've got a couple in between there as well that I won't give away surprises for. Alyssa Rogers is brilliant, says Nicola. Saba says yes, nice one, says Amanda. Yay, comedy, says Harriet. Alyssa's awesome. She's so honestly, I've never met Alyssa. I did send a self-tape for Brassic. I don't know whether she would have seen that or not. I didn't get a role though, so we'll get the score on that. I go, why didn't I get that role? I did get a role in the first season of Brassic, and I went and filmed it, and it got cut, didn't it? Gutted. I'm hoping it wasn't because I was shit, but I think it was because just unfortunately, not everything makes it. Not everything makes it into the final cut. So I'm going to love you and leave you guys. It is exactly 21:59, so we're bang on time tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have been here for the first time, like Alex has been here for the first time, come and join us. Every week we do this. If you're watching on the replay, come and join us live. If you're listening on the replay, come and join us live. 9 p.m. every Monday night. Do come and get involved in the ActsOnThis.tv community. It will change your life and your career. Oh, one thing I wanted to ask. I want to start doing... This is what I want to start doing, actually, before the end of the year. It's all well and good us doing, podcasts and stuff, and we do these mastermind sessions with all these incredible names and people who, we get like massive people on, BAFTA winners, Oscar winners, Emmy winners, all this sort of stuff. But I want to start spotlighting members of the community. If you have had a breakthrough this year, or just since joining ActsOnThis.tv, something big has happened to you because you attended a mastermind session. Maybe you signed with an agent because of that, or you got a self-tape that led to a job because of something that you've taken in on Acts on This, and you have acted on it. So if you've taken something from any of the features, you've gone and acted on it, and you've got a great result, you've landed a part on telly, you've got an agent, whatever that is. I want to start doing like small, just spotlight interviews. It'd only be me and you jumping on Zoom for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just sort of, discussing what you did, what you implemented, and how you got a result, because I just think that sort of stuff will really help others in the community to sort of, take that action as well. I think sometimes it's all well and good hearing from the people who are right at the top. It's lovely and it's inspiring and you can take a lot from that, but sometimes you need to hear from people as well who are just on your level doing what you're doing and are just maybe one step ahead of you. So if you have had a breakthrough, something really good's happened to you this year, and you put that down to something that you'd followed on ActsOnThis.tv, I really want to hear from you. It's really good for the site, obviously, but it's also really good for everyone else in the community who's like, oh, okay, Dave did this, that was what he did, and that's how he did it. Because I some mentors in my life do that a lot with people within the groups that I'm part of as well, and I learn so much from hearing that. It just makes you feel like way less on your own, kind of like sometimes it can be like, oh, well, that's all well and good for you guys who have already got there, but what about us guys who are on the way there? So I want to start producing more content like that for you as well. So Saba says, good idea. Great idea, says Marcelo. How are you doing, dude? Didn't know you were here tonight. Thanks for joining us. Inspirational idea, says Brendan. Nice one, Brendan. Well, I'm glad everyone thinks that's good. My first official Christmas as a member, says Sharon. Yeah, Sharon, I had to, God, you remember getting you on board? I had to proper, convince Sharon, Sharon, give this community a chance. Now look, you're here every week. You're taking action on everything. You're getting involved in all the masterminds. You're here on all of these. Sharon's become like, a top member. And I had to drag you in going, Sharon, I promise you, it's going to do wonders for you. So yeah, it's amazing that that you're here. Awesome. And cracking idea, says Nick. We'd love to hear from people in the community, says Joe. Harriet says, brilliant idea. I've had a successful time since joining in March, says Alicia. Yes, you have, Alicia. Boom, you've booked a job, haven't you, as well? You got the commercial. You've shot showreel stuff. You've done loads of stuff. So yeah, no, honestly, it'd be just great to chat. Anyone who would want to chat, Drew says, great idea as well. Just drop me an email, ross@actsonthis.tv. My inbox is absolutely swamped at the moment. I'm going to try and get through some tonight and tomorrow. It's just been so crazy. I mean, it's a great problem to have because the community's grown so much, but it's really hard to get back to people because I get people DMing me, Facebook messaging me, Instagram messaging me, tweeting me, emailing me. It's like, Sometimes I just can't cope. I just have no idea what to do first. But yeah, if you've got a story to tell, drop me an email, ross@actonthis.tv. I would love to help you tell it. So I'll end with the trailer again for Thursday night for those who might not have seen it. But yeah, come and join us Thursday night with Danny Miller and Dan Jillings. We're going to have an awesome screening of their new film, Pace, and we're going to have a private Q&A for members as well. John says, it'll be my first Christmas as well as a member. We'll catch up on what I missed. Nice one, Joe. Awesome. Well, this replay will be available for you the second I end the session tonight. So thank everyone who here's live, who is here. I can't even speak. Who is here live. Thank everybody who is watching or listening on the replay, and I'll catch up with you guys who are members or are going to become members on Thursday evening, 7:30. Look out for a Zoom link in your email. Okay. Until then, lots of love, everyone. Bye for now. Actors, I am back with an incredibly special invite for you guys to another incredible ActOnThis.tv live mastermind session. This time it's taking place on Thursday, the 19th of November at 7:30 p.m. with these two absolute legends here. Emmerdale's Danny Miller is back in the house, and we've got star of Netflix's Enemy Lines. It's actor Mr. Daniel Jillings. Boys, what is going on Thursday?
Well, guys, we are going to give you an exclusive premiere to our film Pace, and it's technically my directorial debut, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask me as many questions as you want in the whole process of production.
I will also tell you how we lost our camera up the 1 week before production, how we got loaned 50 grand's worth of kit, and how we secured a stellar cast.
And that's actually not to forget the fact that we won an LA Film Festival award, but we couldn't make it into Bolton Film Festival. Cheers, all the best.
Nice. Absolutely nailing LA. Can't dominate Bolton. Listen, if you want to get involved with this, guys, get yourself over right now to actonthis.tv/live. You are going to get the chance to jump on camera, put your acting career questions, your producing questions, filmmaking questions, whatever it is. If you're ready to create your own work, these are the boys who are going to be able to answer all of your questions. Get yourself over actonthis.tv/live. And to finish, fellas, little bit of pressure. I ask everyone this. Why don't they want to miss this one?
Well, I can personally speak on behalf of Daniel and I and say that we certainly won't bullshit any of your questions. We'll give you genuine answers and tell you that it is tough to make your own film, but it's very rewarding in the same respect. All right.
What he said.
Nice. A BS-free zone. Be there. ActOnThis.tv/live.